Hey there, YouTube fans. How you going, man? So I wanted to do a bit of a comprehensive video on the common private visa, shared values visa for the Russian Federation. Okay. Now, the common private visa, the shared values visa, is a single entry visa for a period up to 3 months. Now, this is from the Sydney Russian Consulate directly. In February 2026, I'm doing this video. Now, you would do an application for the temporary residency permit, and you don't need proficiency in the Russian language or the history of Russia for this particular shared values visa. Now, I'll skip all of that because I'm assuming you already know what it's about. Australia and Italy are two of the countries that are on the list that you can apply from. So that is lucky for me as a dual citizen. And so you would submit the documents to the Ministry of Internal Affairs of the Russian Federation for a temporary residency permit. Now, in my case, that would be in Palermo, Sicily. You would have to have an absence of a criminal record. The document must be apostilled, and you have to submit that document in original form with a notarized translation. Now, as a dual citizen, I actually have to probably submit the Australian police certificate and the Italian certificate, Italian police certificate. Now, I've done 2 separate videos on those recently. They must be also within 3 months. Like, they cannot be older than 3 months. If they are, they can be rejected. So you've got a really short period of time to submit them. Then this is mandatory under the temporary residency permit. You have to submit medical documents within 30 days of entry into Russia in either paper form or electronic to the Ministry of Internal Affairs to confirm the absence of drugs, psychotropic substances without a doctor's prescription, absence of newly potentially dangerous psychoactive substances, which I just mentioned, and the absence of infectious diseases that pose a threat to others, as well as a certificate confirming the absence of HIV, and a certificate must be conducted in the Russian medical institutions and certificates must be submitted later, but no later than 30 days after the reasons have been resolved. So you have to ideally submit these documents within 30 days of arriving in Russia. It just says here, if there are valid documented reasons, such medical documents and certificates may be submitted later, but no later than 30 days after the reasons have been resolved. I wouldn't dilly-dally on that one. The same as the police certificates. Completion of fingerprint registration and photographing at the territorial office of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. So that would be in Palermo, in my case, in Sicily. You would need to pay a state fee at the time of this particular November 2024, this document, it was 1,920 rubles, which isn't a lot of money, I don't think. If you're an Australian, so the single entry private visa, it would be approximately 120 Australian dollars, and the processing period is about 10 working days. So you would need, for the ordinary private visa, the following documents submitted to the consulate: an application, and I'll go through that now. So it has a passport number. I'll just briefly go through this, and your address, and then you confirm here, I hereby confirm that the motive for moving to Russia is the rejection of the policy implemented by the state of my citizenship, which imposes ideological attitudes that contradict traditional Russian spiritual and moral values, as well as the installation of destructive ideas and values provided for in Article 14 of the Fundamentals of the State Policy for the Preservation and Strengthening of Traditional Russian Spiritual and Moral Values, approved by decree of the President of Russian Federation, 9th 11th 2022, number 809, and you put in your occupation, information about minor children traveling together to the Russian Federation. So there's a section there for that. Place of intended residence in the Russian Federation, subject settlement. Okay, and then your signature, but you should always sign these documents in front of an officer at the Ministry of Internal Affairs or the consulate. Now, number 2, a valid passport with at least a couple of blank pages and will not expire earlier than 6 months. Complete a visa application form. Oh, there's another application form, which is signed, which you have to do online at visa.kdmid.ru. That's visa.kdmid.ru. Printed out and signed by the applicant. Unfortunately, I didn't print that one out, but you have to do it online, and you can actually save it as you go from memory. The answers to the questions on the visa application form must be exhaustive. Make sure that you list common private as the visa type, private as the purpose of the visit, and just leave it like a dash as the host organization, because you don't need an invitation like other visas with this particular visa. The visa application form is signed by the foreign person at the Consulate General in front of an employee. So sign all your documents in front of them. Don't sign them beforehand. Now take a passport size photograph. I would take a couple of them. And based on the principle of reciprocity, long story short, you need medical insurance of at least 30,000 euros with specific conditions about repatriating a corpse, if you passed away, these kind of things in there that must be paid to a Russian organization. I did a little bit of research. AXA seems to be one company. Now, don't quote me on that, but they seem to be one company that would provide you with that insurance. Medical transport as well. Like, make sure you get an insurance policy for Russia that is appropriate. There are specific conditions that I won't go into. Do your own research about that. Make sure that it is covered and valid in Russia. Now, for citizens of third countries, make sure you have a document confirming the right of a foreign citizen to an uninterrupted stay in the country for more than 180 days. So, in my case, I just show them my second citizenship or passport, and that would be fine. I didn't print off the online application form. I'm going to see if I can do that, and I'll be back. But if not, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Teach us out. God bless.